Hey guys, back with another video, another impressions video on this game, Disgaea 5, and I actually streamed this game not too long ago. I'm trying to get more into streaming ever since the YouTube app kind of got added to the PlayStation 4, which notifies my subscribers whenever I'm streaming, which is really cool. I can only stream in medium quality. My internet is just can't handle anything higher than that. But that was really fun the few times I've been able to stream, and this is one of those impressions videos where I haven't exactly finished the game yet, and there's a reason for that. Now, it's not that I hate this game. Usually that's when I don't like a game or think a game's okay. In fact, I've enjoyed my time with Disgaea 5. It's more due to the fact that this game is extremely lengthy, way longer than I was expecting. I'm going through the story mode in this game, and I'm on episode 8. And for the longest time, I actually thought I was closing in on the end of the game. Each episode has 5 missions. I think at least 5 or more missions, and it feels like I'm getting close to the end of the game. So I just went online and found out that there's 16 episodes in this game in the story mode, and I'm 40 hours on episode 8, which means I'm just about halfway done this game. Yeah, this game is crazy huge. This is going to take at least 80 plus hours to finish. So when I saw that, I was really shocked because, like, even though I enjoy this game, I think it's now going to become a game where I kind of chip away at it slowly. I'm probably not going to get this finished until, like, next year. There's some other games I want to get to, and I was really expecting to finish this. Unfortunately, yeah, this game's absolutely, like, huge. Which I guess that could lead into an entirely different discussion. Like, when is an RPG too long? What is the perfect length for an RPG? Perhaps might do a video on that, but honestly, 80 hours to me, like, that's just ridiculous. Like, I guess I shouldn't be complaining too much. I mean, this game's got a ton of content. You're getting a lot of game for your buck, but I don't know. I think it's just this game's a little too long. And that's just the story mode. There's so much to this game. I guess we should start talking about it, right? I guess we'll talk. We'll start with the story, which is probably one of the least compelling parts of the game. And I think this series hasn't been known for its amazing storylines. The main character is Kilia. He's kind of a demon overlord of sorts, and you kind of tag along with this princess of the gorgeous netherworld named Seraphina. And there's all these netherworlds in this game's universe, and they're all being destroyed by this demon emperor called Lord Void Dark, I think his name is. So you're basically, as Kilia, you're vowing revenge against him. That's the general plot. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's a lot of humor with this game, even though the main character is not very humorous at all. He's obsessed with food and curry. He always eats curry before a battle, which is kind of funny. But the main character is kind of stoic, and just like, I don't know. He's like the only character basically that is very serious, self-serious. But the interactions between him and Seraphina are quite funny, I think. The writing overall can be quite funny. I thought the game was more humorous in the opening hours, and I talked about this when I talked about the demo. But it gets less humorous as it goes, and the writing gets less interesting, I think, as it goes, and the plot kind of kicks into high gear. I think Kilia has an interesting backstory. I thought that was probably the most interesting part of the plot. But overall, I guess it's okay. It's not terrible. I guess it was enough to keep me going, at least until episode 8, when I found out that there's still 8 more episodes, which is crazy because it really felt like it was starting to get towards the ending. But yeah, the story is nothing special. I don't think people play Disgaea for the story. It's more the gameplay, which I guess we'll jump right into that. Yeah, the gameplay is really great. It's very overwhelming at first, and this game, like, it's ridiculous the amount of systems and mechanics they throw at you. Pretty much every episode, up until even episode 8, they're introducing new shit. And this video could go on long. There's some stuff I guess I won't talk about, but I don't really know like all the major differences between this and Disgaea 4. I think the big thing is the Chara world, which is this is one of those weird systems where it's like an alternate leveling up mechanic in a way where you can kind of spend mana to bring your characters into this board game world. It's called the Chara world, where you kind of move along a board game and you can up stats in this way, and you can fight enemies on this board game. And when you clear a board, the first board costs 100 mana, the second costs 1,000, and I think it goes up from there. But when you clear a board, you can get a new abilities and things like that. It's kind of interesting. It's weird. That's kind of like an example of the weird mechanics that this game has. You have the item world, which has been in previous Disgaea games, where you like take an item and you can go into that item. And it's like that's where the game kind of almost becomes a dungeon crawler in a way, where you're kind of going through floors of enemies, and the more floors you ascend or descend, I guess, the better stats that item gets. Like the item gets increased stats, and I think that's like the way that you level up your characters to extreme degrees. Like Disgaea is known for having characters that can level up to level 9,999. Which is absolutely bonkers. Like some people just really get into these games. They get really hardcore into them. I don't see myself really getting into like in getting that crazy into this game. Like I said before, I'm probably going to stop playing it for a while and just kind of chip away at it slowly. And even though I do enjoy Disgaea 5, I don't I don't think it's made me a hardcore fan. I don't see myself getting another Disgaea game in the future. Um, but like me, if you haven't played a Disgaea game, I do think this is a great entry point. The story isn't like connected with other Disgaea games, so you can jump right in from this one, and I think it's probably the best and most refined as far as gameplay goes. Yeah, but yeah, Disgaea strategy RPG. The missions, you know, you're going mission by mission in the story mode, where you have grid-based maps. You move your the characters along these grid-based maps. You have your standard attacks. Each character can have like magic abilities or other abilities that use SP. There's a lot of nifty things with the battle system, where like a big part of it is actually lifting your party members and throwing them across the map, and that's a great way to get across the maps. So if you want to reach like a really far enemy, sometimes you can carry one of your party members and throw them all the way to where the enemy is. And I found like starting at like episode 3 or 4, you really had to use the lift mechanic, because they throw in a few kinks here and there. Like the missions start out pretty simple, but later you're introduced to like geo panels, where you have like these pyramids on the map, and they have a different color, and that color corresponds with certain tiles on the map. And some of these tiles will give boosts to enemies. Some of them might give boosts to your party. Some of them might give extra experience. And honestly, I'm not crazy about the geo panels. I think when they're used, it's mostly irritating. Like some of these maps that I came across, one that I just finished not too long ago was fucking irritating as shit. Where you had tiles that would respawn enemies. If an enemy was on these tiles, when you ended your turn, a new enemy would spawn on these tiles. And they were way across the map, so you couldn't possibly reach them on your first turn. So enemies were constantly respawning, and it was so irritating. And then you have missions where enemies start on tiles that give them plus 50 attack boost, and your party members don't get that, and you can't possibly reach the geo panels on your first turn, and it just gets out of hand, and it gets really irritating. Like the enemies have all these unfair advantages, and it's just, I don't know, the geo panels. I suppose they're made to make the maps more interesting and give more strategy, but honestly, I thought they were just a nuisance. Like I would actually like the game better if they were just flat out removed. And that leads me into one of my main complaints with the game: the mission design. It's hit or miss. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's irritating. Like one episode has poison, where every map just has lakes of poison, and there's some missions there's some missions where you can't avoid the poison. Your characters have to walk over the poison, and that to me is just like awful design. Like I hate that. Like it's irritating. So yeah, that's actually my big issue with like the game as far as gameplay goes. But generally, it's pretty fun. Like I was saying before, you can throw characters around. You can have towers where you can have one character hold up to like I think like 3 or 4 different characters, and they can like throw those characters around. It's crazy. You have the prinnies, which are obviously a huge part of Disgaea, and they explode when you throw them, which is pretty funny. Um, so yeah, there is actually a lot of strategy to the battles, but a lot of times you can actually just get your really strong characters and just kind of rush the enemies. That tends to work quite often. You have character classes. To unlock a lot of character classes, in fact most of them, you have to do side quests. And the quest system is pretty simplistic, where you just take quests from like a quest board in your Netherworld hub world, and that's you basically clear a quest by solving its you solve whatever the problem is for that quest, and that's how you unlock character quests, which is I think that's apparently different from what previous games were like. I don't know if that's a downgrade, but I don't really like that as a character recruiting thing. Um, other than that, you kind of recruit the characters from a recruiter in your Netherworld, and you can like pay extra money to have them start at a higher level and things like that. It was fun experimenting with all the different character classes, um, but yeah, it's overall the gameplay is pretty great. I'm trying to think like what else is there. I guess with some of the other systems, you've got your hub world like I mentioned. Of course, you can buy equipment, things like that. You've got like a weird like I think it's called the strategy assembly, where you have like you can vote on different things basically. I'm not going to really say what things you vote on, but like you can kind of influence the vote by like giving the I guess they're jurors or whatever different items to kind of influence the vote. You can even actually fight them to pass through bills, and that's a really weird system. I kind of like it, but a lot of the things that you were passing bills for, I didn't think were all that necessary, so I didn't actually mess with it that much. It might get useful later though, and maybe I'm just missing out on this crazy awesome part of the game. Um, there's the Terra world that I mentioned earlier, the item world. You can make your own nether worlds, which I didn't mess with that too much. You've got skills, and like I mentioned before, there's mana. Each character has mana, and you can spend your mana at a skill shop to kind of upgrade your character's skills or give them evilities, which I think this is new for Disgaea 5, which each character has their own like evility they can equip, where it's like a bonus if something happens during battle. One of the characters, Red Magnus, his evility is ridiculously overpowered. Uh, where revenge mode, that's another mechanic too in this game that I think is new to this game. Where if characters that you have are hit for a lot of damage or die, other characters will go into a revenge mode state. And Red Magnus's revenge mode is crazy, where he becomes huge. And basically his attack power is increased like crazy, and he just demolishes enemies. He's easily one of the more powerful characters. In fact, Giant Mode is pretty overpowered in general. Um, but you have like a squad system too, where you can assign characters to different squads, and you can get bonuses that way. There's a curry cooking system thrown in there. There's a lot of stuff I'm probably missing, but yeah, a ton of mechanics. Squad attacks, which actually it says at the back of the box here, new specials like squad attacks. So I guess that's a new addition to the game. Again, as like someone that's getting into the series with this game, I don't know like everything new with this game, but yeah, it can be overwhelming at first, but eventually you do get used to it, how the game plays, and it's mostly fun, aside from some frustrating map design, which I think is the biggest weakness with the game. But yeah, that about covers the gameplay. I think there's probably stuff I'm missing, but that about covers it. Visually, it looks like a PS3 game. I'm not gonna lie. I think with Disgaea 5, they say they take advantage of the PS4, where you can have 100 characters on screen at once, which that's cool. I like the 2D. The sprites look pretty great. I gotta say, the animations are stellar too. I gotta say, the environments are a little bland. I'm not gonna lie, the environments are a little bland. It's I don't know. It's a nice looking 2D game, but it's not gonna knock your socks off or anything like that. Audio wise, voice acting's pretty good. It's a solid English dub. Some of the voices are a little irritating, I gotta say. Like some of the higher pitched female voices, I just I don't know. But soundtrack. Now, I mentioned this in the demo, but there's a song that plays in the main hub world that's like a vocal track that's really weird, and I really like it. I liked it like throughout the entire game. The rest of the soundtrack, unfortunately, is not all that memorable. A lot of the songs loop very quickly, so you just get really sick of them. The battle tracks, for instance, aren't. I didn't think they were that great in this game. So yeah, based on that demo, I thought the soundtrack would be a lot better because I really liked that Hub World song. But that's the only song in the game I like. So yeah, the soundtrack a bit of a disappointment. I'm not crazy about the soundtrack. Although I don't know if the Disgaea series is really known for their excellent soundtracks. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, not too great the soundtrack. But yeah, I mean, I guess that about covers it. Uh, yeah, no multiplayer or anything like that. But yeah, I've enjoyed my time with it. I'm glad I picked it up. But like I said before, I don't think this makes me a huge hardcore fan of the series. It's like Hyperdimension Neptunia. Although I think I do like this quite a bit better than that. It's a cool game. I can see why people are really hardcore into it, but I don't think I'll be picking up other games that come out after this. And this game is just packed with content that I'll be coming back to this like many times over. So I don't feel that bad for skipping out on future Disgaea games. Although apparently this game didn't sell that well in Japan. I think the series actually does better in the West. But yeah, hopefully they do make more of these because you know, I know it's a niche kind of series, but it does have its fans. But that's it, guys. If you like strategy RPGs, definitely worth a go. It's I don't think it wouldn't make like I haven't played too many strategy RPGs. I'm starting to get into them more and more. Ogre Battle 64 is still my favorite in the genre, but I don't know. I don't think this is really like going to be up to the level of Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre. That said, I still do need to play those games. But yeah, glad I bought it. Well worth the admission price. A nice launch box set too. I was not expecting this like really nice box set for the launch edition. Honestly, the special edition they did is not much better than this. It's not that expensive, but I really like this box set. But yeah, anyways, this impressions video has gone on way longer than I was expecting it to. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.